I really don't think Thanos demands your silence is going to hold any weight by the end of this video. Good afternoon, warriors. How are you guys doing today? I am not even going to bother with the introductions. You know who I am. You've seen the title of this video. We are talking about Avengers Infinity War. This movie has been in the making for 10 whole years. We have seen almost every hero from across the spectrum on the big screen interacting with one another, but we've never seen them all coming together in a colossal battle against one common villain. I had the extreme pleasure of going to see it the second night it was out in my town's theater with my friend who I actually went to see the first Avengers movie with 6 years ago. There is no one else that I would have rather have gone to see it with, and I am so stoked that we did. I'm gonna do this video in a half and half format where the first half is going to be non-spoilers. I'm just going to be giving my impressions of the film and what I appreciated about the technical aspects, and then I'll give a little warning to jump into the second half, which will be spoilers. Not like a deep, in-depth conversation about everything, but at least the things that stuck out to me that I really want to bring to your guys' attention. If you have not had the opportunity to see Marvel's Avengers Infinity War, not quite sure why I decided to make the title really long like that, stay for half the video and then I'll give some little bit of questions and call to action before jumping into the spoiler part, which will be for those of you who have seen it already and are ready to dive into a conversation about it down in the comments with, of course, a bunch of lines before caps lock spoilers. I don't want anyone to miss out on a true reaction to anything in this movie. It is that important to the Marvel Universe. The general feel of this movie will have you on the edge of your seat for practically every second. There is non-stop action, a lot of comedy which is layered out beautifully throughout each scene, and the characters that the studio chose to match up together complement each other so well. You're going to love seeing every character interacting with every other character that they've either met before throughout the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or they're meeting for the first time, and to watch those first interactions, it's just incredible. I really like the balance of colors and tones that's used throughout each act and transitioning through each scene. You have your whimsical, light, fun scenes. People are getting introduced to one another and therefore kind of testing the waters on how their relationships are going to play out. But then you also get the more dark, intense, dramatic scenes. There's a little bit of doom happening, but because of the characters' personalities, they mesh really well to deliver some memorable moments that I think everyone's going to enjoy. And the music is used incredibly well to guide viewers throughout the movie in the right atmosphere. Plus, scores from character-specific movies even are splashed in throughout. When Guardians of the Galaxy comes on, you get that awesome 80s feel going on. And then when it jumps over to Doctor Strange, you might get something a little more mystical. And then there are the moments that are so serious, music actually isn't needed. When things go really low or almost silent, you know something's about to go down. If you've been watching Marvel movies since the beginning, you're going into this movie expecting to be shocked. You're going to go in mentally prepared so that it's less of an impact when it does happen. Scrap that. There are two scenes in particular when I was ecstatic and then destroyed because I did not see this coming. I'm going to talk a little bit more about those in the spoiler half, so if you have seen the movie already, stick around for that. You cannot come into this movie thinking that every person is going to make it out alive. That's just not possible with the amount of heroes that they've cast in this. Marvel has done an incredible job with giving everyone a little bit of limelight, even for the characters that have deaths with an S. This is the climatic point in Marvel's history. This is the movie that is going to make you question everything. Well, okay, maybe not everything, but a lot of things are going to be brought into question, and you need to be prepared for the worst. To cap off this non-spoiler section, I want to ask you guys, what are you most looking forward to going into this film? Have you watched all the other Marvel movies prior to this? I admittedly have not seen Spider-Man Homecoming, but I don't feel like it's incredibly necessary. Let me know down in the comments what your feelings are before you see the film if you haven't seen it and are watching this video up to this point. And then when you have seen it, come on back and we'll dive into some spoilers. As we go into the film, everyone is dead. Thanos' children and the Titan himself have laid waste to all of Asgard. Thanos has Thor held by the head, and Loki is basically just looking on helplessly as he's being held at spear point. Thanks to a very cleverly placed "we have a Hulk" line, Banner comes rushing in to take on Thanos because he cannot stand to see his friend Thor in this much trouble. But unfortunately, Thanos overpowers Banner and would take him out if not for Heimdall, who uses the Bifrost to shoot Banner away and then get killed. The first death in this movie is from Heimdall. I personally thought that he was the answer to the Soul Stone, but alas, not gonna happen. Loki pulls out his old "I will pledge my entire allegiance to you" line that we've seen him use before, but really we know that he's using this as a ruse to try to kill Thanos. Unfortunately, Thanos also knows this and kills Loki. For good this time. I know in past movies we've seen Loki die, but that was either an illusion or he miraculously somehow finds a way to come back to life. But I think this is really it this time. Like, there is nothing in the rest of the film that suggests that Loki is still alive and working his trickster magic behind the scenes. I think he's gone, and that hurts. Loki is a character that everyone has loved and hated and loved again because he's starting to get redeemed, but then hated once more because he betrayed his brother. He's got that back and forth that is just so iconic and has been a staple of the Marvel franchise. After we see this excruciatingly painful scene, Thanos takes off using the Space Stone, and the next time we see Thor, he's hanging out with Guardians of the Galaxy. Thor, of course, smashes into the Guardians ship, and everyone kind of freaks out a little bit. They bring him on board. Drax blurts out that Gamora is Thanos' daughter. We think something's about to hit the fan because her dad just killed his brother. It's gonna get messy. But actually, it's hysterical what happens next. Thor gets all empathetic and tells about how he feels her pain because he's basically the only one left, so he knows how she feels. And no one's expecting that, including, as it seems, the other characters. Star-Lord, of course, sees this as Thor flirting with Gamora, so makes an attempt to size the God of Thunder up by kind of puffing out his chest and making his voice deeper like Thor's. But, of course, no one takes him seriously, and they just brush him off. One of the interactions that I've been most looking forward to in this movie is Thor and Rocket, and it does not disappoint. Funny enough, Rocket has a spare eye for Thor. Apparently, someone owed him a whole bunch of credits, which he did get paid back, but then later that night, Rocket decided to sneak into his room and take his eye. I think that might actually be a reference to something from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Rocket and Yondu are trapped in the Ravager's brig and send Groot to get Yondu's fin so that they can escape. I don't know. I think it has something to do with the last Guardians movie. The two cameos in this movie that had me on both ends of the emotional spectrum, practically back to back, were phenomenal. First of all, we get Peter Dinklage. He plays the dwarf on Volmir, basically an intergalactic forge that makes all of the galaxy's most powerful weapons, including Mjolnir. So, of course, Rocket is ecstatic to go to him since Thor needs a new weapon. And holy moly, when Thanos goes to retrieve the Soul Stone, because he discovers that Gamora actually knows where it is, no one was ready for who they were about to find there. They have to hike up a large mountain to reach a summit that is being blocked by a dark, shadowy figure. When that figure turns around, everyone was in shock. No one saw this coming. Red Skull. Like, Captain America, the first Avenger, Red Skull, is alive in the Marvel Universe. We all saw him die 10 years ago, and learning that he's actually alive somehow is... it's crazy. I had no words in my mouth or in my mind for at least 2 minutes after that reveal. Something happened immediately after that that left me without words for another 3 minutes, so I should just call it 5 minutes. But still, that reveal alone was mind-blowing and soul-shattering, can I say? You would think that point is the worst of the worst. You are emotionally drained. You can't take any more bad. But it gets so much worse at the finale when Thanos obtains all 6 Infinity Stones, snaps his fingers, 75% of the Avengers gets wiped from existence, and as he said he would, plops himself down to watch the sunset fade to black. That's it. That is the end of Avengers Infinity War. This movie is an emotional roller coaster ride that takes you down to the pit of darkness. We do get one post-credit scene after everything scrolls through of Maria Hill and Nick Fury driving down the street. They're stopped because everything's disappearing around them before they too start to disintegrate away, but not before Fury is able to send off a message with his transcommunicator thingy that is blinking the message sending dots. Everyone in the theater is waiting with bated breath to see what's going to happen, and the Noble Corps symbol pops up, which I didn't actually recognize at first, but a couple of the guys behind me mentioned that's Captain Marvel's logo. So there is still a little bit of hope, since this is still a 2-part movie. So I guess this was like the pre-climax to the climax that's going to be coming in Avengers Infinity War Part 2. We do still have Marvel movies set to come out. We do have Captain Marvel. We have Ant-Man and Wasp set to premiere in a couple of months. Hawkeye's still out there. The Defenders are still out there. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. are still kicking around. They have Daisy Johnson. Let's bring Quake up against Thanos and see how that works out. Or not, because then she could also be disintegrated. Which interaction was your guys' favorite out of the entire movie? Was it primary heroes like Doctor Strange and Iron Man? Was it secondary characters or even tertiary characters? We got a little bit of screen time from Shuri on Wakanda and the Squidward child of Thanos. Your death is honorable and mercy hullabaloo nonsense? Let me know down in the comment section. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. That's it. I'm done. I've waited so long for this movie, and now that I've seen it, wow, am I glad, but also this was a marathon for my brain. If you love Marvel and have been enjoying this cinematic experience that we have all been on for the past 10 years, please remember to hit that like button and share this video with others to spread the message that embracing what you are truly passionate about and expressing that to others is to be encouraged, no matter what that is. It doesn't have to be the popular in-crowd thing for you to love it. Marvel is an amazing community to be a part of, and I am so grateful that I have friends around me and people to talk to throughout the world that get excited about this sort of thing. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you'll keep updated with what's happening here on the channel, and for 100% notifications of when I do upload new videos, we got a bell icon there for you. I am so happy that you guys have taken time out of your day to watch this review. I know it was probably a little bit long, but I tried to cut it down as much as I could. As always, don't be afraid or discouraged to express what you are truly passionate about, because you have no idea who in the world you can make an amazing connection with.